Welcome to Voice of Stories. Discover tales that inspire, captivate, and bring words to life. Subscribe for unforgettable stories.
Luke rushed through the rain, his jacket pulled tightly around him like a makeshift umbrella. He hurried toward his front door, but a faint whimper stopped him in his tracks. Though the rain poured relentlessly, something urged him to investigate. He followed the sound, his sneakers squelching against the wet grass. Tucked beneath a rhododendron, he found a tiny, trembling figure, a creature soaked to the bone, shivering uncontrollably. At first glance, Luke believed it to be a stray puppy. His heart melted. He spoke gently, hoping to calm it, and the little creature inched toward him, eyes wide with fear. Carefully, Luke scooped the animal up and wrapped it in his jacket, taking it inside. The warmth of the house, with its earthy scent of rain-soaked wood and soft jazz playing in the background, comforted them both. He dried the creature off and studied it more closely, noticing its strange ears and peculiar coat pattern, which didn't quite match any dog breed he knew. He offered it some warm milk and chicken, which the creature devoured hungrily. Despite its puppy-like size, something was off. The creature's behavior was unnervingly quiet, unlike any playful pup he'd ever met. When it finally settled by the fire, curling into a ball to sleep, Luke's curiosity deepened. Where had it come from? Why was it alone? He decided to take it to the vet the next day to check for a microchip and see if it had a known owner. But for tonight, he'd give it shelter and warmth, just as a storm raged outside. The following morning was bright and sunny, a stark contrast to the stormy chaos of the previous night. Luke, a software developer, went about his usual Saturday routine, hiking through the Blue Ridge Mountains to clear his mind, followed by a hearty breakfast. But today, there was a new companion to care for. He named it Storm, partly because of the stormy night they had met, and partly because of the creature's intense, almost watchful nature. But Storm wasn't acting like a typical puppy. It ignored the toys Luke bought, pacing the length of the living room, eyes fixated on the outside world, as if on guard. That night, Storm's behavior grew even stranger. Instead of sleeping peacefully, it stood at the foot of Luke's bed, staring into the dark corners of the room. Then came the howling, deep, mournful sounds that didn't resemble a puppy at all. They were eerie, almost otherworldly. Intrigued and unsettled, Luke began documenting Storm's unusual behavior on his blog, originally meant for his coding projects and hiking adventures. The entry titled, "Is My Puppy Not a Puppy?" quickly garnered attention. Comments flooded in, some offering theories, others expressing concern. Was Storm a rare breed, a wolf-dog hybrid, or perhaps something even more mysterious? The buzz grew louder as Luke posted more videos and observations. Storm's strange habits became a source of fascination for his growing online audience. But for Luke, the questions only multiplied. He needed answers. Determined to find out the truth, Luke scheduled another visit to the vet. This time, he hoped for clarity. He drove to the clinic, heart racing with anticipation. When they arrived, the clinic was bustling with the usual pet dramas. As Luke waited in the reception area, he noticed people whispering and glancing at Storm. A woman nervously spoke to her companion, eyes wide with curiosity and concern. Even the man with the golden retriever stole a quick, suspicious glance at the creature. When their turn came, Luke and Storm were called into the examination room. But just as they neared the door, Storm's instincts took over. With a sudden lurch, it broke free from Luke's grasp and darted away. Chaos erupted in the waiting room, dogs barking, cats screeching, and people shouting as Storm dashed between legs and chairs. Luke chased after the blur of fur, heart pounding, while Jake, the vet's assistant, sprinted to help. After a frantic chase, Jake cornered Storm in a storage room, and together, they managed to restrain the animal. Back in the exam room, Dr. Peterson, a seasoned vet, greeted them with raised eyebrows. "Quite the spirited one, isn't it?" he remarked, though Luke's anxiety was palpable. As Dr. Peterson began his examination, it quickly became clear that Storm wasn't just an ordinary puppy. The vet was puzzled as he examined Storm's teeth, sharp and pronounced, unlike any domestic dog's. Dr. Peterson's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. He paused and glanced at Luke, then asked, "What do you call this animal? Where did you find it?" Luke explained that he had found Storm after the storm, thinking it was a lost puppy. The more Luke explained, the more Dr. Peterson's eyebrows arched and his gestures grew more urgent. Finally, Dr. Peterson turned to his assistant Jake and whispered something to him. Jake shook his head in disbelief, but before Luke could process this, Dr. Peterson's words hit like a thunderclap. "This isn't a puppy, Luke. You've brought in a baby hyena." Luke froze, the revelation hard to grasp. "A hyena?" he echoed, staring at Storm, whose big eyes stared back, confused and frightened. Dr. Peterson, sensing Luke's shock, quickly added, "I know this is unexpected, but this is a young spotted hyena. They are rare in this part of the world, and they require very specific care. This is no ordinary domestic pet." The vet explained that hyenas, even as juveniles, were wild animals and not suited for domestic life. They needed specialized environments that could cater to their wild instincts. He also noted that while Storm hadn't shown aggression, hyenas could be unpredictable, especially in stressful situations. As the vet prepared a cage for Storm, Luke felt a pang of guilt. He had thought he was rescuing a lost puppy, but in reality he had unknowingly taken in a wild animal. "The cage wasn't for punishment, Doctor," Peterson reassured him, "but a precaution to keep everyone, including Storm, safe." As Jake carefully moved Storm into the cage, Luke felt a mix of sadness and understanding. Storm's big, sorrowful eyes met his, and Luke knew he had done the right thing. They had shared a bond, one that transcended their differences. In the quiet of the isolation room, Luke sat with Storm. The young hyena moved closer to the bars, gently nudging his hand. Luke extended his finger through the cage and Storm responded with a soft lick, a silent thank you and farewell. As the animal control team arrived to take Storm to a wildlife sanctuary, Luke watched, heart heavy but at peace. He had done his part in helping Storm find his way back to a life where he truly belonged. Luke realized that sometimes rescue isn't just about offering shelter. It's about understanding and respecting the true nature of the creatures we encounter. The experience had changed him. He had learned that every wild animal, no matter how small or seemingly harmless, had its place in the world. And sometimes, even the smallest creatures can leave a lasting mark on our hearts.